Good morning. I'd like to talk this morning about Karl Rahner. Karl Rahner is a theologian. He was ordained a priest. He taught in the university and had a relatively unexciting, uneventful life. So to some extent, when you look at the physical things he didn't do much. But Karl Rahner is considered the foremost Catholic theologian in the 20th century. And the reason for this is he built a theology effort and work in theology, in the study of God, based on a new philosophy. So theology is the study of God, but in order to talk with each other, we have to have an agreed upon way of thinking. And so the typical Aristotelian way of thinking, done through Thomas Aquinas and followed by the church for years, include a thing called metaphysics, which is just a way of understanding, hey, this is what is. This is the essence of what really makes this what it is. That makes this coffee cup, the coffee cup. This is the essence of a coffee cup. This is the essence of the very inmost essential part of me. Well, in modern philosophy, starting with Descartes, who said, I think, therefore I am, the way you look at things is more from the subject, from the person. So I certainly know that I am because I'm thinking, but then they will go on. Other philosophers will go on, be well beyond Descartes, all the way up to Kant, who comes with a balance between being rational and being understanding what you experience. And you combine those two and you get some pretty far out things. And what Kant would say was, Immanuel Kant, is that there is both ourselves that we are aware of because of our thinking. There is what we experience as these outside things that we take in through experience. And then we know that there's a cause for the outside things and for ourselves, and that would be God. Now, philosophers may or may not include God, but they certainly did. And what Karl Rahner will do is take that so much farther and take it into the religious realm and take this new level of thinking in terms of how we see the world. I'm just going to say a quote that he puts out right out there. He says, the real and total comprehension of the task of a Christian is to being a human being, of course, whose depths are the divine. My depth is the divine. To this extent, Christian life is the acceptance of human existence as such. So Karl Rahner, born in Freiburg, Germany, 1904, he becomes a university professor at University of Freiburg. And when he was studying there, rather than getting in the Thomistic type of philosophies, he was very taken by a Martin Heidegger, who's one of these modern philosophers in this sense. And so he used this modern way of thinking to adapt. And what he's basically saying is that all of our existence is rooted in the holy, the infinite mystery of God. Making that connection is so fascinating. Now, again, I said we think, and therefore we have that kind of awareness. We experience things through our senses, so we're aware of things outside of ourselves. But beyond that, and to the cause of these things, we have a sense, what he would call the transcendance, that step beyond what we can see. It's like looking out at the edges of Lake Michigan. I look right out at the horizon, and I had this sense, a very real sense, that God is just there, just beyond what I can see. And it's not that God is far off there, but in this way of being beyond what I can see, he is totally there with me. And the fact that God can be with us and the grace is coming in at us all the time, even though we can't perceive it, it's a wonderful way of perceiving our God. That our God is with us and he comes to us, and poof, it's just a good thing. Karl Rahner is, because this is a new thinking and the church isn't real good at taking on new thinking, he is held in pretty high suspicion. It gets to a point where all his writings have to go through a Vatican censor before they can even be given out to anyone. The thumb was down pretty hard on him. But then, in 1962, doesn't Pope John the 23rd invite him to be one of the major theologians assisting with the Vatican Council II. And Karl Rahner had a real advantage. He was very good at Latin. And where this helps is when all the bishops came together back in 62, English wasn't the common language that it is today universally. The economy hadn't gone that universal as yet. So Latin in the church was the church words that they used and expressed themselves with, and he was very good at Latin. And that helped him. And I had an experience. We had a Bishop Aloysius Wysyslo, Polish bishop, that was here in Green Bay. I think he retired in 68 or something. But anyway, he was fascinating because at the time of Vatican Council, he was an assistant bishop of Chicago. And he actually went to the Vatican Council. So he came to our class and talked about this experience. Now, when he's 96, 97 years old, and it's way back in 97, 98, I think I was the class I had. And but he talked about it like it was a moment just of spiritual excitement. It was incredible. He said, we were just a bunch of bumbling country bishops. We came together and the Holy Spirit was present. And he just felt like those 16 documents were an inspired document of the church. They aren't official. They are the official document of the church. But many of us who read them find inspiration in the insights and the opening up of our minds. And this opening brings us to a love that really connects us well. Now, Karl Rahner wasn't a real simple writer. When he'd write, he'd write something and then write a nuance about what you just said. So in our class, one of the gals called it, I think it was 162 words were in one sentence. When his brother Hugo goes to retire, he says, yeah, what I'm going to do is I'm going to try to translate my brother's writings so that we can understand them. They're pretty nuanced and pretty hard to understand. But at the same time, they give us a great insight with a whole new type of thinking. And if we can think beyond ourselves to an experience of God that we do have a sense of, it's not in our experience, it's not in our general mind, but there is a sense of God coming to us. If we can see, if we can transcend beyond what we can see, well, we're experiencing the joy of faith. We're experiencing grace. Let us bask in the grace that Karl Rahner has exposed to us. Have a good day.